Good evening, one and all. Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the second day of International Symposium on Research and Publications of Environment, Health, Well-being and Sustainable Development 2023, commemorating World Health Day, Health Week, Health Month 2023, and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns, and Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 75 years of independence, and India's G20 presidency in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing and others. So before we start our sessions today, let's take the blessings of Almighty. With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with day 2 of International Symposium. So today we will look at research design and research methodology. Yesterday, we were discussing about research on health, especially on maternal health and infant health, and how they are relevant and related to environment and sustainable development. As we know, breastfeeding is highly sustainable practice and a natural organic way to provide nutrition and also various benefits to the child and also to the mother. So we don't need any additional resources because breast milk is available for free with the mothers, and there is no additional activity that is required that can contribute to the pollution or environment degradation. So that's how there are many practices where we can contribute to the environment, to the nature, to the planet in a very sustainable way. When we are promoting this formula milk, what we are doing? We are promoting huge economic activity, huge deforestation, huge animal farming. And that leads to a lot of economic activity, lot of human activity, a lot of industrial activity that is causing a huge impact to the environment. Today, thanks to all the ancient traditional knowledge systems, they have given a wonderful way for us to keep this planet healthy. But our greed to earn more, our greed to become the world's richest, our greed to earn more fame, to become the most popular, or to become the most richest, or to enjoy the materialistic luxuries. Today, we are facing a lot of issues, and we are not only exploiting human beings, but also exploiting the nature and the natural resources around us, which is causing a serious harm not only to human beings, but also the other living and non-living beings. So, as we have an opportunity in the upcoming conference, and also to promote research among the youngsters as well as the academic fraternity. So we thought let's use this opportunity of World Health Month as an opportunity to provide resources to the fraternity, learning together, sharing together. Resources are available, abundant in the universe. But an attempt to bring out on a platform is what we are doing here. Of course, we can learn everywhere. Life is continuous learning, and every day, every moment, we keep learning. So what does we do? Naturally, we are doing a lot of research. Research, the term itself means researching. The term research can be understood as researching. Though I'm not going to the contextual or various definitions and other things, but in simple terms, we keep learning. We keep doing research in our day-to-day life, even today, every moment, every day. We keep doing a lot of research before we buy something, before we plan something, even to execute something, or even to take up something in our personal life or professional life, or in our recreational life also. We do a lot of research. We do research like, even say, suppose today, if you want to buy some new products, what we'll do, we'll start searching, right? We'll start exploring whether a similar kind of product is available or not in the very first place, right? We keep searching. Suppose if we say we want to buy a mobile today, what we will do? Let's learn today. Let's explore today practically. Now we want to buy a mobile. Let's make it more interactive. Now I will open the forum for discussion. You can unmute yourself. And this is a research problem for us. We want to purchase a mobile which is relevant to modern technology, say 5G mobile, which is capable of handling all the day-to-day activities. Like the basic purpose of a mobile is to keep connected. Means the basic services like SMS, messaging service, and calling service, that is voice call. And apart from that, we need internet services where we can install commonly used apps to pay our utility bills. And as nowadays, it's all online banking, online shopping, and even online services. Even citizen services have gone online. So we should be able to access all these citizen services. And we need to apply for various utilities or services. And we need to learn, we need to teach, we need to conduct research, and we also need to have some leisure time. That is also part of our life. So we need to have the capability of watching some videos or multimedia content to keep ourselves relaxed and out of our daily routine course. It can be anything. It can be movies, or you can watch some, National Geographic or Discovery Planet or some space channel or anything, whichever is, that can be anything based on one's interest. So how we will go about purchasing a mobile? So this is today, the problem is for us is to buy a new mobile, which is 5G enabled and has the most advanced capabilities of handling all the work. So it should be almost replacing the need of a laptop or a system. Almost, I said, almost. It definitely will not replace, but almost can replace a laptop or a system, a computer or a desktop. So this is my research problem today. So how we are going about it? Now let's take it in a very practical way. Now I want, because I see a lot of senior professionals are also there. So we can explore together. You can share how we are going to go about it. You can unmute yourself. Anyone feel free to unmute yourself and share. Then we'll get into how actually we can go about it. We can have different perspectives here. Anyone would like to unmute and share? If this is a research problem, then how we are going to go about it? Feel free to unmute yourself. Yeah, of course, most of the time we keep muted on this platform because, a lot of post-editing works comes in. Suddenly someone unmutes and asks any, accidentally, and a lot of things happens. So due to avoiding that, we keep most of the time muted, and it also distracts and also disturbs the speaker, and the flow gets interrupted unless and until speakers are very much used to the flow and the breaks in between. Sometimes speakers also face difficulty in the continuity. So that's why, to avoid all these reasons, we keep muted until the session is going on. So, and after that, we provide an opportunity to interact. That is what, but today let's make it interactive session. Feel free to unmute yourself and you can share. Anyone else or anyone who would like to share how we can go about it? You can raise your hand if you are unable to unmute yourself. I can unmute from my side. There is no hard and fast rule. You can just explain in simple terms. It may not be in terms of, academics. Or you can just, as a common man also, you can share how we will go about it. No one? Okay, then. Fine. This is a very simple problem. At one time or other, we all, have similar problems. This may not be a real problem or that much big problem, but it's still a problem. Otherwise, what will happen if we go to the market and buy something and come back and realize that this is not the mobile we would like to buy, or this is not the intended features I was looking for. And we have to later regret because, for some, it may be the only resources to buy a mobile and they don't have any other resources. Now they cannot go for another mobile, maybe in the entire lifetime, because there are people who cannot afford. Today we have people with basic mobiles, featured phones, that old phones where there is no touchscreen, no latest operating system, where they can just use the basic services of messaging and calling. So it is very important because we have a huge population on the planet who are using mobiles and gadgets. And it is also important, those who are in industry, who are very much in day-to-day use of ICT technologies, internet, communication technologies. We all have to be abreast with the latest technologies and equipment. So for that, how do you know which is latest and which is, worth enough and which is cost effective and which is stable? So we need to do a research. So what we will do initially, we'll try to find out within our circle, we'll try to gather information within our known sources. We'll try to ask. Maybe first we'll try with our own siblings, if they know something about this. Otherwise, our family members, maybe parents or friends or relatives or any professionals who, or for that matter, any hobbies who are interested in or who always read about or curious about emerging trends in mobile phones or features. So we will approach them, or we will visit, some review sites where these kind of comparisons, reviews, features are listed, and there is an opportunity to compare. And nowadays we have virtual reality, augmented reality, and 360-degree live experience of the product. So where you can experience, have a look of 360-degree angle of the product. And not only that, some manufacturers also provide a simulation of the mobile, exactly how it works. When you click, how each button works, how the entire mobile works, and what are various features, and how to access the internal menu settings. All you can access it virtually. Of course, they are high-end models, very costly models, where you can get access to that. Even vehicles also, today we have technology. Before buying Audi, latest model, or or Tesla, or Lamborghini, or Jaguar, these high-end models, which are a minimum, the basic model starts somewhere around 3 crores, 3+ crores. So most of these manufacturers have this virtual experience before customers, can plan, or before they can visit showroom, they provide an experience online where they can experience the features, explore the features of the product with all the technical information, photographs, videos, a lot of technical as well as the visual and auditory experience. So you can virtually see the model, open the door, unlock the door. You can sit inside, drive, and experience everything virtually through VR headsets. You can experience the product. And you can also see what are the various options. You can also literally access the menu, which is a simulation of the actual product. So you can learn in a similar way. Even we have high-end mobiles. Some mobiles cost around 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs also. There are few more mobiles. They also provide certain kind of virtual experience. So that if that facility is available, we can also go through such experience and decide. But as a common man, we don't need such expensive mobiles, expensive products, right? Even we should know that such a product is available at that expense. But for that also, we need to have awareness. Either we could have watched some, we could have heard it somewhere from someone, or through ads on radio or TV or internet that such a product exists, or either we have come across some campaigns or some presentations where in seminars or conferences or symposiums or tech shows or tech shows, tech talks, where product launch events or technology events where new technology, emerging technologies are discussed and showcased. So from these are the various sources where we can collect up to keep ourselves up to date. Apart from that, we have associations, association website, journals, dedicated journals on various disciplines, various topics, various specialties that only focuses on particular sector, which gives detailed information about various aspects of the product which we are looking for. So, say suppose now we need to buy a mobile which can be used for all purpose, including monitoring health of the environment as well as individual. So we need to have sensors, or we need to have sensor support to the mobiles, where we can attach some sensors which can monitor our blood pressure, oxygen levels, our activity, and various other physiological parameters or vitals from our body, including temperature and various other parameters which are essential to determine our health. At the same time, we may also need to get the data about the temperature, humidity, and other aspects of the environment, which will help us to assess the environmental health and also individual health on various parameters. Yeah. So it can be any problem. It may be a very simple problem to be solved, or it can be a major problem at a large, which has to be addressed. So there are number of ways, there are number of approaches, there are a number of strategies where we can approach the problem. So let's look at how we go about. First is identifying the gap. Whenever we are looking for some research, basically we are looking at a problem that needs to be solved. We have so many problems. It doesn't mean life is full of problems only. We have problems to be solved. It can vary in terms of priority, in terms of magnitude, and various other aspects. So first process is to identify the gap. Where is the gap? Yesterday, we have identified a gap, especially in maternal health, especially where there is a lot of research that needs to be taken up in breastfeeding practices and breastfeeding research. That is very sensitive and it needs a lot of research because the breastfeeding rates are coming down and more and more families are opting out from breastfeeding. It is impacting not only mother's health but also child health. And and also there are various other reasons, like both mother and father are working. They are living in nuclear families and they are working, so they can't take leave for longer periods. And nowadays it's like after delivery, third, fourth day only people are joining offices. We have come across so many people like that. And the people have different priorities and they have certain commitments where it is not always feasible, though we highly recommend breastfeeding, because if we compromise on breastfeeding, then lifelong the child and the family has to face the consequences in form of lack of immunity or lack of other essential nutrients requirements of the baby, and also various risks associated like cancers and other diseases or disorders to the mother. And the mother is lactating now. What the mother is going to do with the milk? That is also a major problem. If she doesn't breastfeed, then the milk, the content of the milk will overflow from her breast, and that will also cause an inconvenience that will soak, the clothing. If she doesn't breastfeed, then what she has to do now? Even if she goes to work, then she might feel embarrassed or she might feel discomfort, because that's a natural tendency. That's a God gift or nature's gift, because the baby has to be fed with adequate milk. That is why mother is endowed or bestowed with adequate quantity of milk she can produce to feed the baby and keep the baby healthy. So there are various practical challenges associated. So what has to be done now? So that's how, breast milking pumps have evolved over a period of time. Initially, there was this problem. So where, though this breast pumping is not a new concept, but it was there since long time. But now these are being widely used, not only in urban places, but also rural areas. They have, though exclusively pumps are not used, but they use hands to pump the milk and store it and feed the babies because they are most in need, because they have to work, otherwise they cannot eat. And many population who go to daily wages to earn their livelihood, they are facing a lot of issues. So what do? They take milk from the breast and store it safely in a hygiene condition, in the cool temperature. And there will be someone to take care at the home, maybe the eldest family member, the grandparents or parents, someone who is looking after, or someone who stays in the neighborhood, who is where the child is kept under care of a caregiver. So the pump breast milk is given, safely stored, and safely fed to the child periodically, because the child has to be fed frequently, and mother cannot be there all the time because she is also forced to earn livelihood to support herself, her family, and also the child. Now, these are the practical problems we have, and we need to find out solution. So that's how these breast pumps have evolved. So there was a problem, and there is a solution also. Otherwise, without breast pumps also, earlier, people were pumping, milk with their own hands and storing them and feeding the baby later on in a mother's absence. So that was sustainable method. And again, there is no other, dependency. So as soon as the mother is back, before going, she was feeding the baby and pumping out the milk, which was sufficient till she returns back to home to feed her baby. So till that time, the baby was fed, and again, the same thing continues. So for shorter duration, there was not much problem. But for longer duration, especially, there was a little bit of problem. But, a breast milk stays safe in right conditions for even 2-3 days also. Even now, today, we have technology where it can be preserved for 1 year. Today, we have breast milk banks where breast milk is collected from mothers, and it is being provided to those babies who lost their mothers or who are in required of adequate breast milk. So like this, there are various problems, and we have come out with solutions. And those solutions are also not 100% feasible, viable. But in spite of these solutions also, we still have problems. But to some extent, they have got addressed. So we always keep evolving on solutions, and problems also have different dimensions where we may not be able to address all the aspects of the problem. So one or other aspects, or most of the aspects, if we cater to that, problem, there may be still some aspects that are left out. It may be due to affordability and due to lack of facilities. Like say, suppose take a breast pump only. It has to be cleaned regularly and in a hygienic conditions so that it doesn't get contaminated. So it needs clean environment where it can, and clean water to clean it, and also to be dried in a sterile or, for that matter, open environment where it is safe. And again, it has to be properly dried and clean, and again to be reused. So again, there is a lot of dependency. First is to buy the pump, affordability and accessibility, availability, whether they can afford it or not, whether they know. Even many people can afford, but they don't know how to maintain, or they are not maintaining it well. That will again cause a lot of issues like unhygiene breast pumps. Again, the milk gets contaminated or spoiled, or even bacteria can grow up in, if not cleaned properly. Again, that will cause infection or other problems with the child. And not only child, to the mother also, while pumping the milk. So even the breast will come in contact with the bacteria or harmful viruses or fungus. And again, there it can also affect the mother also, unless and until it is maintained in a very hygienic way. So these are the various problems. And we have also various solutions for it. So similarly, any kind of problem can be approached in multiple ways. And these different ways might provide different solutions. And not every solution may be totally applicable in all the circumstances, all the contexts, all the situations. So we need to see how far it can be practically implemented and how far it can reach the common man or the common woman, or for that matter, any other purpose, and whether it is affordable, whether can that solution be affordable to everyone and accessible to everyone, whether we have adequate resources, infrastructure to utilize that resource or solution. All these aspects are very much important in deciding a certain solution and adopting its implementation or adoption. And apart from that, the preferability, the preference to use the product. There is a lot of stigma attached, especially when we were talking. We took that example because we can continue. We can have the continuity of this health topic, because I thought mobile would be a common concept. You all can interact, but anyway, you were not coming up with solutions. So I will take the same topic and continue. If I have to go on one side, then I will continue with the same topic. So when we have this problem, as we were discussing yesterday also, there is a lot of stigma, taboo associated with that, talking about breastfeeding practices or talking about mother's health, especially breast health and other aspects. And there is a lot of stigma associated, a lot of taboos, a lot of myths associated with it. And people are not openly talking, willing to talk. And maybe because of that, people may not be also willing to adapt. these pumps. And also, if they adapt, they are not openly using them. So that also again creates a lot of issues. Like once they do not accept it, there is a lot of secrecy maintained. So they do not want it to show it in public or use it in public. So in the sense, they are always indoors or places where no one can see. Even cleaning, drying can also cause issues because at that place there might not be adequate light, adequate sun rays, for the adequate ventilation, sanitation, or at times that can contribute to the production of bacteria, virus, fungi, and various other elements, non-unwanted elements. So all these issues can also be impacting the solution of the problem. So we need to look at various aspects of the problem and also various solutions that can address the problem in multiple ways. So for any problem, first is to identify a problem. Where is the gap? Now, here a lot of problems are there. It's not a single problem, it's a multifold problem. First thing is accepting that it is a natural behavior. We have grown up. Today we are talking about feminism. Today we are talking about sex. Today we are talking about dating, mating, or whatnot we are talking. But today we are talking about LGBT, whatnot. But today we are not able to talk openly about breastfeeding and practices. So we need to talk it openly and we need to support it also. It is quite common. Most the present generation may not be aware, but those generations who belong to 60s and 70s, probably 80s also, have seen, because now these modern cities or this kind of industrialization was happened since 1990 with this new economic policy. Due to vast industrialization and urbanization which took place, and it has turned cities into highly populated places, cities and towns. Otherwise, it was a quite common that mother was feeding baby at any place, wherever, the baby was required, even in public also. You see, mother was feeding openly. And, in fact, people, if anyone see or anyone saw the baby crying or this, they would openly ask, mother, why don't you feed the baby? That was a, approach we had in earlier days. But now, can you see, we are living in metropolitan cities, so-called cosmopolitan cities. But can you see any mother openly feeding any baby? This is a problem with the present generations. See, here what is important? Feeding the baby is important. Right? Taking care of the nutritional requirements of the baby is important. But when someone stares, when someone is start feeding the baby, everyone stares at it like something unusual is happening. Why? It is quite not natural. Mother is feeding the baby. What's wrong in it? Why we need to stare at it? As if something happening that couldn't have happened. And many places also prohibit feeding. Now today and nowadays people are exposing their even private parts also and have minimal clothing. That is acceptable. But if you are feeding a baby, that is not acceptable. what kind of society we are living with, what kind of attitude we are in. And many, establishments also prohibit openly feeding the baby. And, we have seen certain instances where babies' mothers were requested to go into the washrooms and feed the baby. Have you ever had anything in the washrooms? Have we ever ate in washrooms? How do you expect a baby to be fed in the washrooms? This is kind of, environment or kind of attitudes we are carrying forward. These all are very important. These are all problems. Why we are talking is, these are various problems. Now, how do we find solutions for this? So, the only solution for is having a space where the mother can feed the baby. So there are various aspects here. First is physical aspect, privacy. Second is psychological. We should not stare. In fact, like good olden days or like earlier, especially when we were children, we used to encourage anyone for that matter, because we care for the baby. So, in fact, we provided a safe zone for the mother to feed baby openly or however she likes. While she was working also, she was feeding baby and no one stared at her, or no one, even looked at her or even looked also in a very compassionate crowd. But today, what is the way we are looking at? What are our intentions when we look at a mother feeding baby? So these kind of, psychological, in terms of our attitudes, perceptions of understanding will also make a lot of difference. Mother is not feeling comfortable to openly feed a baby today. Though many are feeding, but some, it doesn't, we cannot generalize statement as such, but today mostly women are not preferring, especially those working or those who are, beauty conscious. And nowadays, there is a trend of having no children at all in very first place. Because having beauty conscious or, they want to achieve something, and this childbearing or child responsibility can cause an hindrance or a break in their career. So they are very conscious about it. There is nothing wrong or right, it's our own decision. But still, these are various problems for the woman and also for the couple and also for the family. So how do we address, how do we do research on these problems? How do we find solutions for these problems? So we will look out for various opportunities where we can address. First is providing safe zone, safe facility where the mother can feed the baby without any hesitation, openly, without any second thought. That needs a proper, appropriate clothing also, right? Where mother can make the breast available to the child. So appropriate clothing is also very much essential. So we need to have appropriate clothing also with us, or we should wear them so that it facilitates breastfeeding. So that is also important again. If we wear something like a single clothing or a clothing that can to facilitate breastfeeding, it has to be removed completely, or where it cannot be removed in a way without exposing the entire body or a part of body. Again, that will cause an inconvenience. So these are various problems. So how do we find a solution? So already our traditional clothing is very well suited for all these, so that it facilitates even breastfeeding. But nowadays, irrespective, we have no gender clothing, even unisex clothing, what we call it. Even the males, females, everyone is wearing, nowadays there is no difference. In fact, uh, that both are wearing, shirts, trousers, t-shirts. So literally there is no difference. Of course, we have difference. It doesn't mean that there is no difference. But we are talking about trends. So which are not so friendly for breastfeeding. Again, this will also create a new set of problems. Of course, when we talk about clothing, when we wear these tight jeans and tight t-shirts, skin tight, then that will create one more problem. Okay, t-shirts also fine when they are, adequately sized, which are flexible. Maybe the baby can easily be taken inside, which can facilitate the ventilation, air circulation, and can prohibit suffocation of both the baby, and it provides adequate space for breathing, then it's fine. If we again wear skin tight, again, that will be one more problem. So why we are discussing this is, see, we are giving solutions also, but that solution can also lead to more problems or can give rise to another set of problems which did not exist earlier, or which can create more problems or new kind of problems. Whenever we are searching for a solution for a problem, maybe each solution can provide one or more solutions or one or more problems with that solution. So these are the various complexities when we go about a research with a problem. First thing is physical, as we mentioned. Physical can be, the physical space or the materialistic aspects like clothing, and even these pumps or any accessories or any aids that can help them. All these come under physical and material things, all come under physical. And also space and also infrastructure. All these comes under physical. And apart from the psychological or emotional, these relate to our perceptions, feelings, our emotions, and the way we perceive things around us, within us. So all this comes under this psychological, emotional domains. And social, the kind of acceptance in the society by the public, how it is seen, whether they are being encouraged, motivated, or they are being discouraged, demotivated, and all these aspects, how the society or how other individuals look at breastfeeding practices. And the economical aspects, like how feasible they are, how viable they are. All these aspects are, and cultural. And certain cultures do not allow themselves to show their face off, for that matter, in public. So they are entirely covered from head to toe. Now, how will they breastfeed? Now, that is cultural aspects are there. So these are various aspects of problem, dimensions of problem. How we are going to address all these aspects? So one solution which we can come out is providing a safe zone, safe space, a hygienic, well ventilated space like a room or a dedicated area with a partition or a closed doors where mother can take her baby and feed a baby. This is the best possible way to facilitate a mother, irrespective of one's cultural and so on, because she will be alone in closed space, safe space, where she can, if required, if he has adequate clothing, fine. If he has to remove some clothing, then she can go ahead and feed the baby. Because anyway, it's an isolated space. It's a completely covered space. So without any fear, she can go ahead with breastfeed. So similar, the first physical thing, maybe the solution is to have a space, dedicated space for the mother to feed her baby. So this can be one solution which can meet all the aspects. Again, here one economical aspect is there. Today we all are, using up to the last inch, last centimeter or last millimeter of the space, especially in commercial space, because everything is now, we are talking in context of cosmopolitan cities, metropolitan cities, especially in cities. Urban areas, okay, our cost of living is high and even the rental space is also high. So again, having spacious, dedicated space, that is also a concern, because we also have to look at the business owner's perspective also. Instead of that, he will have or she will have her own perspective of utilizing the space for alternative purposes. Then we need to convince them that this is also equally important, to have some dedicated space where, like a space of changing room at least, or a space of some 3x3 or 4x4 feet, at least the minimum, where a mother can feed her baby. We have to convince the establishments to allot some space with some privacy and safety for the mother to feed her child in public places, especially while traveling also, and in mostly in public and private establishments, where mothers with babies are provided adequate infrastructure. So these are various, we are just looking at one problem. But here, while discussing, we came across so many problems. Now, when we are looking at the solution, so these are the various problems that we are facing. Okay. So we need to look at these various aspects, like even if mother is in proximity feeding the baby or in her absence, if she is if she is feeding baby, then what are other options? So first option we have explored. These are the challenges they are facing. And of course, they have their own, solutions and challenges. And at the same time, in absence also, we have seen where the breast milk can be pumped and fed to child with or without using breast pump, which can be manually taken up, stored, and can be fed to the baby. Otherwise, also using breast pump with under storage containers, it can be transferred and can be fed to the baby. So these are different solutions, possibilities, in fact, where we can accommodate, we can address the solution of this problem. And there might be other ways also, like nowadays we have this milk, cow milk or other milk or even formula milk that is being fed to baby, but that is not as nutritional, as beneficial as breast milk. They have their own disadvantages. So all these are, and they also need again, breast milk as the direct contact between the mother and child. There is no need of other, accessories or aids, because the baby directly comes into the contact of mother's breast and sucks the milk. So there is no need of additional requirements. But when we are using formula milk, or when we are using milk powder, or when we are using other milk also, again, there are a lot of requirements. We need to have hygienic, safely cleaned vessels or utensils or glasses, and the milk powder or the milk which has been collected from other places have to be hygiene, have to be fresh, and have to be free from contaminants or free from bacteria, virus, or any other foreign bodies. And it has to be treated. If required, it has to be heated and cooled. So all these requirements, even if you take formula milk also, you either need normal water or hot water. And you need safe, again, glasses to mix the milk, or tumblers to mix the milk and again feed the baby. Again, you need to wash them. Again, you need to clean and dry them and keep it safe to reuse them. See, now you can imagine how breastfeeding is sustainable and environment friendly, and also contributes to the sustainable development. Right? You don't require anything. If you are doing breastfeeding, you are contributing to the environment. If you are not doing breastfeeding, what is happening? There is lot of other dependency. There is lot of dependency on various aspects, like you need to buy something, you need to procure the milk from other sources, which may not be as pure, as healthy, and as fresh as mother's milk, as safe as mother's milk or mother's breast milk. This itself poses, and again, from where does that milk come from? Whether it is cow milk or buffalo milk or goat milk or what milk you are serving your baby, you don't know. Whether it is synthetic milk, you don't know. You are buying, procuring for the market. Generally, people, whatever milk they get, they mix up and give it to you. We don't know exactly what milk we are getting and from where it is getting. And people are, it's a common practice. The milk gets adulterated with water, and whether that is a pure, clean water, hygienic water, we don't know. Again, that contamination, most of these waterborne diseases, cholera, all these are there. Waterborne diseases are quite common with water contamination. And today, because of huge demand, there is a lot of adulteration that happens because huge demand is there, supply. So all these aspects are there. Yeah, sorry, you got a call. So yeah. So when we are just looking at one problem of or challenges for breastfeeding, we see a lot of problems, lot of challenges are there in this. Like in similar way, there might be a lot of. So these are research gaps, where we need to find. These are the problems where we can take up research and find out solutions, and also do research on solution whether it is applicable in all times, at all places, to all people, in all cultures, in all regions, in all setups. Like that also we can take up research. So there are enormous opportunities for us to take up topics and do research. So this will help us. We often find, especially young researchers, we often find, or often we struggle with selecting a topic. But there are a lot of topics that can be taken. One easy thing is see what is trending. If you want to, most people want to see, of course, the purpose of research also is very important. What is that making you to do research? Whether it is because of your fulfillment of your course, it may be UG, PG, or MPhil, or PhD, or postdoc. Whether your intention or whether your intended purpose is only to complete your research as part of your course, or whether you really want to make a difference with your research and contribute to the community or nation at large with your research. So these are two aspects which you can choose a research. Of course, the first priority is to complete your degree as a student, as a researcher. So you would be more inclined towards that. But at the same time, you can also choose a topic which is close to community, which community is dealing with, where there is a requirement, there is a need for the solution. So there you can work on solution. Look out for solutions. And that will definitely help. That will not only help you in completing the course requirements, but also it will provide you an opportunity to suggest a solution or to provide a solution for the existing problem. So you can get both the benefits. And if it is a trending or a burning topic, then there is a greater possibility of your research to get published in a highly reputed journals also. Now, this is a secret of publishing. So the first step starts with choosing a topic, identifying a gap and choosing the topic. If it is burning topic, hot topic, trending topic, and a trending, in fact, a problem that needs a solution, then that is where your success lies. So once you are able to choose a topic, that's where half of the success is attained. So choosing a topic is very important. It should be a new topic. Even if it is not a new topic, you should be able to give a new perspective to the solution or to the approach to the problem or the research problem. And you should come up with an innovative, creative solutions or a different solution for that problem. So these will all help you. First is to make first to meet your course requirement. Second is to contribute to the community or society or nation at large by taking the appropriate problem and exploring it and suggesting or finding suitable solutions to the problem. And finally, you can also get an opportunity to present in the conferences, seminars, symposiums, and various academic events, or even in media, or it can be a talk, or even in a journal. So you can publish, or you can, if it is a very good research, you can also contribute as a chapter in some book. So all these possibilities are there. So when your topic is a burning topic or a trending topic, or which is to be explored and has a priority, then there is a greater scope for you to get it published also in a highly reputed journal also. See, when we don't have any, generally this is what happens. This is the secret of people who have so many reputed publications or reputed research work in journals is, they find such topics, the trending topics which are in need. They find such topics and they do research, and they also present it and publish it. Because generally publishers are looking for new research, for new topics, trending topics, burning topics. They are looking always, they are on hunt for new researchers. So they always want, a new, creative, innovative research coming up in different walks of life, different fields of life, different disciplines, even multidisciplinary, transdisciplinary approaches. So selecting the topic, selecting the research problem is the very first phase which we have to take it up carefully, so that the rest can assure you fulfill these three purposes. One is course fulfillment. Second, contribution, your contribution through research to the society. And finally, to get your research published so that you can gain benefit of it along with the contribution. So these three purposes will be fulfilled. So the very foremost thing, the first thing is to identify gap and select appropriate research problem for research. And then you can, half of your problem is solved there itself when you select the right kind of research problem. Then you can go about a review of literature. Once that you know what is problem, then you will find all these. See, here the problem is, decreasing, the declining of breastfeeding rate. Say, suppose this is a problem here, research problem. Of course, we have a lot of problems, but assuming that, let's take this as a problem. Then these are various aspects which we discussed today, why it is declining. So these, we know there are various reasons, various problems, challenges. So we know how to address them. So we have also discussed few solutions where we can help to increase the breastfeeding rate, which will promote not only mother's health, but also child's health, and also contributes to the environment and reduces pollution, and is also sustainable. And no additional burden on the family to buy formula milk or other things. And again, that requires water, and facilities. Again, maybe if you need to buy water, again, you need to pay for the water and to heat the water. Again, energy is consumed and lot of space is required to prepare all these things in a hygienic environment. So, you could have saved all these things. So that's how, a simple change in our mindset, a simple, favorable attitude or a perception towards this great practice of breastfeeding can contribute a lot to the environment. We might be wondering what happens if we don't breastfeed, or what happens if we breastfeed. What's going to make a difference? No, it's going to have a great impact, not only on your health, that is mother's health, not only on child health, but also on the environment health, planet health. So I can also give a brief on each sustainable development goal, how breastfeeding is contributing. Maybe tomorrow we'll take it up. So basically, now the research topic has been identified. There are a lot of research problems. And if we take this as a research problem, so now the problem has been identified, the gap has been identified. So now we will, formulate the hypothesis. That is the problem, objectives, aims and objectives. And do review of literature, find out what is there already existing. Maybe this is not a new problem, because cities are not new, urban places are not new. So they have been there for at least some couple of years. So many could have already faced problem, because we have half of the population, female population, and half of the male population. And definitely, we have families in the society. So they might have already faced problem, or someone might have already researched, and they might have come with certain solutions. They tried it, they implemented it. They might have succeeded, or they might face some challenges, or they might have failed it. So all these we can, find out, so that we can validate our own thoughts, our own views, opinions, and we can see how relevant they are and how practically they can be implemented. We can brainstorm ourselves, and we can see whether someone has already taken up this topic and in what way he or she could do justice to the topic and was able to come out with solutions, and how those solutions, whether they have been successful in addressing the problem completely or partially, or if it has succeeded, to what extent, if it did not succeed, to what extent. So all these we can know about. So once the problem has been identified, once the gap has been identified, once the research problem has been identified, now go for a review of literature, go for survey, literature survey. Now conceptualize your idea, make it concrete, solid. Come up with an, so that you, with review of literature, you will have a better understanding now in formulating the problem. And you can also consult with experts. As I said, you can talk to your grandparents, parents, family members, siblings, or you can discuss with them and collect information. You can also talk to experts, medical professionals, sociologists, psychologists, and whoever you think is appropriate or you can also take a suggestion from them. So what are different challenges and how do we approach this? How do we overcome or address these? And you can also justify, rational your thoughts, learnings, and then include all of them to formulate the problem and objectives. Then finally, you might be reviewed so much of literature. Not everything can be included, or may be included, or maybe the most relevant. From that, you again scrutiny, take the most important, most relevant literature, and finalize complete the formulation of your problem and objectives. Then formulate your hypothesis, alternative hypothesis, null hypothesis. And you can choose one or more based on your review of literature and problem statement. And then after that, you need to go with the research design. Now, the research design or research methodology, the process, how you are going to, construct a tool or use a tool. Already from review of literature, you might have got idea about some tools, some questionnaires, some survey, some methods, and you have come across some research design also, research methodology also. So how to go about how they have collected data and how they have used tools and what was their sample population. And all those details you could have gathered in the review of literature. Now, based on your research problem and your scope of research, you are going to decide on this and put down. And then finally, go for the data collection. Then do the analysis and finally present. So after data collection, and enough precautions has to be taken while preparing the questionnaire or the survey tool or inventories or whatever the tool you are using, that it takes, that it does what it is intended to. That is reliability, validity, specificity. All these things has to be considered, especially when selecting a tool, whether it is adapted, whether it is the right tool. So all these aspects has to be considered and chosen. Then after, go for data collection. If required, do a pilot study on small sample, analyze and see how the results are. Any challenges in data collection, data recording, and data analyzing. Then you can go for actual study. Or if you think, if you feel that everything is fine and your supervisor or guide has expressed enough confidence and you also have enough confidence that, statistically or scientifically verified that you can go ahead, you can go ahead for actual research. Instead of pilot study, you can go for data collection and actual on population, on samples. So you can go for data collection, and if required with the pilot study, you can modify. Otherwise, if everything is fine, you can go ahead with data collection. And you need to clean the data. There might be redundant data, and we might at times, collect some additional data which might not be relevant or which we might not actively use it in our research, but which is essential to establish credentials or to establish the authenticity, or maybe for future to study various other aspects. We may also collect certain data. So we need to clean the data. We need to keep that aside, and we need to prepare the data so that it can be statistically analyzed. So we have to enter in some statistical software like we have SPSS or any software. Even if you don't need all these complex tests, if you are just coming up with basic statistics like mean, median, mode, standard deviation, or simple correlation, all these things can be even taken up in a simple spreadsheet or even Excel also. You can use this open software, open source software like OpenOffice or LibreOffice, or if you can afford, you can also use MS Office, Microsoft. And in that also, most of the basic statistical analysis can be done. You can find all these mean, mode, median, average, correlations, all this basic static analysis can be taken up in this Office suites also, in spreadsheets. If you need a little bit advanced, you can go with SPSS or similar softwares. SPSS is widely used. So you can go ahead, prepare the data in the format, with proper coding and other things, and then you can enter in the spreadsheet or SPS. You can also export, import data from spreadsheets to SPSS and vice versa, but make sure that they are compatible in initial planning itself. Ensure that you are formatting, because both the formats can be used. I mean, better choose the format which is compatible with SPSS, so that if you don't use SPSS also, you can use the same format in Excel or spreadsheets. And again, if you require the same to be tabulated or analyzed in SPSS, you can just import the format or the data to SPSS. So that way it will be useful for you instead of again reformatting your data. You can use the same format both in spreadsheets and also SPSS. You can import the data and you can start your analysis there. So once you analyze the data and the reports are generated and you know what your data is telling, what the data is representing, then you can prepare reports. Based on the reports, you can do interpretation, and then finally make the presentation. So this is the process, simple process that you adopt and discuss the results, the synthesis of the results, and the limitations, and there's and further scope of research. And if you couldn't study any aspects which you think are in the process, you have found out that this was crucial, this was essential, or this can be beneficial, you can mention them, which will help in further research. If someone wants to take up research which is on similar research or topic, which someone wants to take it further, they can also use this. It will be very helpful for them. Or if you want to take this research even further, maybe for your next level of course or next level of research, then you can also take that. So in that way, finally concluding and recommendations. You can take up research on any topic. So we have taken one example as breastfeeding. As yesterday, we will continue with that topic. And we also discussed how it is sustainable, how it is contributing to sustainable development, and how it is having zero implication on the family. And it is abundantly available, naturally available. Mother is bestowed with enough breast milk to feed the baby, and all are happy without any additional burden. Not even a single rupee additional burden is there on the family. And there is no need of other external resources or infrastructure. So that's how, a simple act of breastfeeding is contributing a lot to the mother, to the child, to the family, to the society, to the nation, to the planet at large. So there might be so many such simple solutions we need to think about when we have problems, and we need to come out with certain research already. So in this way, we can take up any kind of problem, research problem. First is, the very first step is to identify a research problem. Then the rest of the process goes. And there also needs to be certain caution. Be realistic. Don't, when especially we see among them researchers, they are too idealistic or too ambitious. They, at the time of choosing topic, they choose as if they want to change the entire world overnight or this research. That may be possible, but not always, because of the level of commitment we have. The same kind of motivation level or the commitment doesn't hold good till the end. And often we see, researchers coming back saying that, oh, this is not my cup of tea, or I am not able to. You find the tool, I am not able to find the sample, and I am not able to carry it forward and again change the topic, or, or narrow down the research and limit to very few variables or one or two variables. It happens. So don't be too ambitious, be realistic. Of course, you can take it forward also. Now for the course requirement, that's why it is very important. If it is for course requirement, then you can keep it, being that you will not have much time, because, in the first year itself, first semester itself, if you plan up this thing, you will have, good time, good amount of time based on your UG, PG, or MPhil or PhD or postdoc. You will have time if you start as early as possible, so that you will get adequate time. You can contact good number of people, reach out to a good sample. You will have time. But often what happens in the last minute or the last semester, the last few months, if you keep taking up and struggling, that will not really, bring out a very good research, unless and until you have all the good resources, connections, networking, where everyone can support you in the process. And you should also be really ambitious, courageous, and having patience, and have the attitude of, completing it in the right way. So all these are very important. So you can take it up as part of course, and you can complete it and further extend it after your course also. You can further extend the research and also take it up to the next level. So that is also possible. In that way, you can also fulfill your course requirements. You can fulfill your contribution to the society. You can also get your research work published. And you can, if you are working, you can also fulfill the requirements of the regulatory authorities, maybe UGC, ASB for CS, or for promotions or for points, whatever it is, whichever purpose you are intended for. So with this, we shall conclude today. So if you have any queries, you can feel free to share in chat box, or you can raise your hand. Or you can unmute yourself. If you have any difficulty in unmuting, you can raise your hand so that we can unmute. So this is the second day of International Symposium. We will have similarly daily, we will take it up one topic, and do join in time. Attendance is also important. Minimum percentage is required for the certification. So do join in time. That will help you to fulfill the attendance requirements. And do fill up the feedback form. Registration form will be same for the entire week. So no need to worry. Daily you need not register for this symposium. Otherwise, and every event is different. So just be mindful of which event you are attending and what are its requirements. Though there are common guidelines, but from event to event, there are certain changes. Be conscious of these changes and accordingly fulfill and meet the requirements so that you are eligible for this certificate. If certificate is not the requirement, then no need to worry about these formalities. You can join happily without any formalities, and you can leave without any formalities. So no formalities are required if you don't need any certificate. But if you are also looking for certificate, then you need to register, follow all the formalities. You need to register, you need to attend, you need to provide feedback, and then you'll be eligible for the certificate. See, many of our friends join, and not for the sake of certificate, but just for the sake of learning. So for them, there is no constraint, no formality. You can just log in whenever you like. You can leave whenever you like. There is no restriction because this is open, free. You can join happily. You all are invited. You can join anytime, leave anytime. So if anything, documentation is required. If you need a certificate, a document from us, from the organizing committee, then you also need to follow certain formalities, complete them in time. That will help us to keep records and maintain and issue certificates. That is only required. So keep continuing learning, and if any one of you would like to present also, you are welcome. You can contact us. If you also want, many of you might already be guiding or doing research, have been having research experience, you can also come forward and you can present your experiences. We can give you adequate time based on your content. Feel free to come forward and present. So thank you everyone for joining us, and quickly fill up the feedback form, which has been raised in the form of polls. And see you all tomorrow at the same time. Take care. Good night. And one more announcement. For those who have attended this 11 days conference, We request everyone, we have almost, as we have mentioned, we'll be sharing this feedback links to you within 1 week's time of closure of conference. We have already shared in various Facebook groups, pages, and we have also sent an email to you, those who all registered, those who have provided correct email address. Check your spam bulk email. There might be possibility because huge participants are there. So there might be a possibility of marking it as bulk or spam. Check your spam or bulk folders. Check your WhatsApp group. In that you will find a feedback link. Correct, enter all the details correctly, because entire process is automated. The system will automatically generate. It has already generated a few certificates for those who have exactly filled, because it is the system that is doing. So that's why be careful entering, even when entering date, time. You have all the registration data in your mail. When you have registered, you have got a mail. So you can exactly enter the date and time. And when you are filling up all the details, especially the name, designation, organization, topics, if you are a presenter, make sure you are filling all the details correctly. Once certificate is generated, we cannot again reissue. So be careful. Make sure all the uppercase, capital, lowercase, or title case, how you would like your, name or title to be printed. Make sure you are entering it correctly. And there is no option to resubmit again. So you can only fill once. So make sure you are entering it correctly. And also you can also mail us after submitting the feedback form. There is small format for presenters. You can just copy that and enter all the details and send it as an additional measure. If something that will be an additional opportunity where you can share easily. And that will be easy also to address when you have certain challenges. So we request everyone to complete it by today. And if whoever has, we have seen a lot of mistakes like selecting AM and PM. They did not correct enter the correct data, registration date and time. So system will not generate certificates because it will compare with existing data. So many had made such mistakes. We have seen when they called, when they messaged us, we verified. There are mistakes they have committed. They are thinking that they have completed all the formalities, but it is not just about filling the form. It's about filling the form with valid and correct details. So all such cases, we will take it up manually. Make sure you are correctly entering all the details, because again, doing manually is, it consumes a lot of time and resources for us, and the entire process may get delayed. So whoever has correctly filled, they already got certificates, and few of them we have also uploaded into Google Drive. Google Drive links are available where we are going to update the certificates. Those who have requested, we have placed a few certificates there also on website so that they can download. And later on, we'll also update all the certificates, but it will take some time. Now, automatically, your certificates are being sent. Once you fill up the feedback form, it is sent to your email ID. If you haven't received that, that means something has gone wrong somewhere. There was some mistake. So that's why the system couldn't automatically generate the US certificate. So that We have to again manually intervene and check and generate, correct that mistake, and we have to generate. Anyway, even if we do also, we have to go through the same process. Instead of you doing, we have to do. Again, that is an additional burden for us. So do it correctly for the very first time, carefully. There is nothing in a hurry. Take your own time. Fill it properly so that you can get your certificate and also save our time and resources. So quickly fill up the feedback form and see you all tomorrow. Feedback form has been already shared in this form of polls. It is still active. If you can't find, you can log out and log in. If you have accidentally closed, you can find in the menu polls and quizzes. You can click on it. You can see active poll. So thank you, everyone. See you all tomorrow. Take care. Good night.